Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. If you want to take your seats, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Jody Jones. I have the pleasure of kicking us off this evening for our first Internet for All listening session, which we are thrilled to have here in Brockton in the Southeast. So thank you so much to our hosts at the Boys and Girls Club, especially Marcus, who has been a wonderful partner. You know, yes, round of applause, please. Anytime you do something for the first time, there's a lot of questions, and Marcus was very patient with us, so thank you. I'd actually like to start by introducing Marcus to give just a couple of words of welcome to everyone. So Marcus, please come on up.
All right, thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Boys and Girls Club in Metro South Brockton Clubhouse. It is our pleasure to have this event in our clubhouse. We know the impact that it's going to have on the community going forward. Just some housekeeping things. If you need the restroom, go towards the front lobby by the front door. Our membership staff will direct you to the restroom. There's a key that you'll need to get into there. But I hope you guys have a great time. And if you need anything, my team is here to help assist in any way that they can.
Thank you, Marcus, and thank you again for hosting us tonight. So we have an exciting program lined up tonight where we're going to be, this really is about listening, and it's about hearing what's important to the Brockton and the greater Southeast community. So I have the pleasure of introducing the director of Mass Broadband Institute, who's going to launch us into our program. But thank you all for being here, and I'd like to introduce Michael Baldino.
Oh, Jody, so thank you for the kind introduction. And I just want to first say thank you for everyone for showing up today. It's really great to see all of you turn out on a beautiful 95-degree day. And also thank you, Marcus, thank you, Boys and Girls Club, for your amazing hospitality today. This is just a great way for us to kick off our listening tour. And so I'll walk us through a few slides and get us rolling here. Okay, so here is our agenda today. So we're going to give you a little, introduce the Mass Broadband Institute for folks of you who are not familiar with us, talk about our statewide planning process that's underway, and that is going to inform how we're going to spend almost $400 million in federal broadband and digital equity funding. We're going to give you some information on what's the landscape look like in the Southeast region for broadband adoption, equity, access, affordability, and so give you a little bit of that landscape. Then we'll go into some breakout sessions, because what's really most important for us today is we want to hear from all of you. And that's really why we're here today, is to make sure we understand what your perspective is, because that's really going to help shape what it is we need to do in order to bridge the digital divide in Massachusetts. Then we're all going to come together, and then we'll end up closing it out. So, just a few quick housekeeping rules. So, we're just asking everyone if they could, put your electronics away for the next, 2 hours. Hopefully, we want to give everyone a chance to speak. So, just be respectful of others and give everyone a chance to be heard. And also, actually listen to what they're saying. That's certainly what we're going to be doing. And we always expect everyone to agree, but even if you disagree, just respect that people have different perspectives, different judgments, and we're just looking for where you can find common ground. And so just last, we understand that we're kind of all approaching this. We have different levels of understanding, lived experiences, around digital equity, and we just, again, we want to learn from all of you and learn from each other. So the Massachusetts Broadband Institute. We've been around since 2008. We're the central broadband office for the Commonwealth. And what our mission is, at its highest level, is to bridge the digital divide. And we do that through making affordable, high-speed internet available to all homes, businesses, schools, libraries, medical facilities, government offices, and other public spaces across the Commonwealth. And we do that through a variety of means, including working very closely with stakeholders. And so the goal of making it available to everyone, we're not there yet, but that's where we want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. So, well, there are already things we're doing that are making an impact in southeastern Mass, in this region. So there's a great organization, Tech Goes Home. We've already made an investment in grants to Tech Goes Home, and so they're already doing digital literacy instruction, providing access to devices, and also connecting people with getting people enrolled in the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is a $30 subsidy for monthly internet service, which basically, if you are on a variety of kind of programs, like if you're on Mass Health, SNAP, free reduced school lunches, veterans benefits, you can it basically results in free internet service. And so they're already doing work in Quincy, New Bedford, here in Brockton, and so they're a great resource, and we hope to. We're going to continue to expand their footprint around the state. We're also through a partnership with Mass Healthy Aging Collaborative. They're working kind of with the elder community, and they've got some local partners, including the Coastline Elderly Services and Old Colony Elder Services, and again, they're supporting digital literacy and and technology training. So here's an example of an early investment that's coming to fruition right now, and it's one of our big things. We're looking to bring free broadband access to public and affordable housing residents, and so we've been testing that approach. One of the areas we're testing that in, and we were launching it statewide, but one of our early test sites was in Quincy, and so. This is really, an opportunity to basically look at internet access. Somewhere you don't have to have an individual subscription. You just have access to it as a resident of the building. And so we're looking to expand that in the South Coast and all across the state. And so here is our. We have digital equity programs and partnerships. So. We've got digital equity partners that are implementing these programs around the state, and we have a municipal program. We're supporting municipalities to do their own plans, and those plans will help inform what we do. And so you can see, I want to thank the mayor, who's been one of the leaders in addressing digital equity at the local level. And here are all the towns and cities in the Southeast that are already signed up and are doing digital equity plans. And that's an opportunity also for residents to have their voices heard. And so here's just a quick rundown of, I went ahead there. Let me see how I go back. There we go. Figured out how to go back there. This is all the different buckets of federal funding that's coming into the state that we're administering. And so right now, this is the great time to be doing this because we're in the planning process. So this is the time to impact what we do and how we do it. And so with that, I am very pleased to introduce Mayor Sullivan, who again has just been one of the leaders in recognizing that digital equity and inclusion and making sure that everyone has access to affordable and reliable broadband is a critical function of government. And so, Mayor, native son of Brockton, mayor since 2019, and also fellow attorney. So glad to introduce you, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. The days kind of blend. It might be evening by now, but I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to welcome you to the City of Champions. Nothing against Quincy. I love Mayor Koch. I love that, but they're the City of Presidents. We're the City of Champions, and we want to talk about a champion effort. I want to first of all thank the Boys and Girls Club and the administration team, what you do each and every day for boys and girls in our city. I want to thank you for hosting us here today. I want to thank Rob May, the city planner. Former Mayor, Councilor at Large Moses Rodriguez is here as well. But I just want to thank all of you. What's so important about tonight is it's a listening session, right? But this is going to be takeaways that are really going to determine what the future of the city of Brockton is and Commonwealth of Massachusetts in terms of how we're going to use federal funds, right? In my prior life, and a dear friend of mine, Kathy Maloney's here, I used to work for Comcast, all right? And Comcast had Internet Essentials, which I learned about. But when we talk about equity and we talk about access, we have to talk about affordability, but we also have to be able to talk about skills where people will understand how to use connectivity, how do you use the internet. I would argue that it's as important as having a phone or having electricity, right? You cannot create the building blocks for success if you don't have connectivity and you don't have internet. That's just a simple fact. I can also tell you that when I became mayor, about 6 weeks later, we had to deal with a pandemic, right? And it reared its ugly head in the city of Brockton, and we lost almost 600 people. But one thing that we were able to do was to give hotspots and laptops and connectivity to kids here in Brockton. I'm a dad of 3 kids. I witnessed it not as the mayor, but as a parent. If we had not done that, the boys and girls in the city of Brockton would have been 2 years in the rears in terms of education, right? So today, you are taking the necessary steps to determine the future. The money is there. How do we spend that money? What's the biggest bang for the buck? And I would argue that equity and access is pivotal. That truly is why we're here today. So I thank you for coming here. Who would imagine 93 degrees on September 7th? But I can tell you this, what is going to be stated tonight, your personal opinions, your ideas, your suggestions, your criticisms, that's going to be the takeaway that's going to truly create what we need to create here. Brockton has been known as the City of Champions for boxing, right? Rocky Marciano, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. It's also known as the champions because of football, Brockton High football. But it truly is the people in Brockton that are the champions. We are not a wealthy city if you look at our financial ledger, but we're wealthy with people. That's just a fact. We're a beautiful, diverse, welcoming community. This is going to be, right now, a game changer for the next generation. For the boys and girls in the city of Brockton that are going to be the next leaders, the next mayors, the next executive director of the Boys and Girls Club. So again, I thank you for coming on a hot night. And I just want to remind you that many, many, many years ago, Brockton was a first. We had the first department store Santa Claus here in the city of Brockton. We had Thomas Edison living here for 2 years, having the first electrified fire station and movie theater and streetlight here in the city of Brockton. We have the first bright field in the city in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So tonight, we can be at the cutting edge again because we are truly better together. So I am so thankful that you're here today. Let's continue to roll up the sleeves, get the job done. I want to thank Haitian Community Partners for being here, Marlene Amity. Moses is here on behalf of the Cape Verdean Association. Chris Meyer, who is known in Hollywood and Quincy and in Brockton, we thank you. But listen, let's just get a lot of productivity this evening. God bless each and every one of you, and let's go City of Brockton. Thank you.
Mayor Sullivan, thank you. And I'm so glad you mentioned electricity, because it is true that at one point in the United States, there was not electricity widely available. And then there was a large investment that came, and now we all enjoy electricity. This is a similar moment for the internet. There's still pockets of the United States that don't have the right access to internet, and we're here tonight to hear from you about how we can make the best use of the investment that's coming to Massachusetts. So Michael and Mayor Sullivan both talked about the investment that's coming. Tonight is about planning. So we do, Massachusetts has been allocated significant funds to do this work. But before we start figuring out how we're going to use those dollars, we need to talk directly to communities and directly to the public so we can understand what's important to you and understand where the gaps are. The state is in the process of developing 2 strategic plans around Internet for All that we will be developing between now and the end of the year. There's several ways that you can get involved in this. Of course, being here tonight is a huge piece of it, and we're so happy to see all of you. We also are collecting what we're calling assets. So if there's programs out there that are doing digital equity work, we want to know about them, because we're creating a map for the entire state of Massachusetts to understand all of the resources that are available to communities. There's also a public survey that's available right now, and there's QR codes on the table. And we also will be talking about this in small groups, but we'd love folks to complete that survey so you can tell us about your own experience accessing the internet at home. And then we will be around the state doing this listening tour between now and October. And so if you have friends that live in any of these areas, please let them know to come and participate. We want the plans to reflect the priorities of the people. I also want to mention ACP. Michael had mentioned we do have a table for signups in the back for ACP, the program, the Internet Subsidy Program. This is a slide that just has timeline. I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but between now and February is a really important time for setting priorities, and so we're happy that you're here tonight. Next, I'm going to introduce my colleague Josh Eichen, who's just going to share a little bit about data for what's going on in the Southeast right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jody. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Josh Eichen. I'm the Program Manager of Partnerships at the Massachusetts Broadband Institute. I'm so glad to see so many people here tonight and really grateful for everyone's time and participation. So I'm going to talk about the existing conditions in the Southeast in terms of digital equity and broadband access. But before I do that, I want to level set and just sort of define what we're talking about when we say digital equity. What does that actually mean? So digital equity is really a condition in which all individuals and communities have the information, technology, and capacity needed for full participation in our society, democracy, and economy. Digital equity is necessary for civic and cultural participation, employment, lifelong learning, and access to essential services. So really, the bottom line is the work for us is not just about getting people the internet. It's about all the things that the internet enables individuals to do to improve their lives in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Breaking it down a little bit further, when we think about digital equity, there are three determining factors in terms of how we think about this issue. Whether or not a household has an internet connection, like literally can they get the internet if they wanted to get the internet? And is that connection fast and is it affordable to that household? We also think about whether or not a household has an adequate device. Do they have a laptop computer or do they only have a smartphone? We know everyone walks around with a smartphone, but it's not adequate always to do the things that they need to do. And that extends to having a router as well. We find that having a quality router is really important. And then finally, making sure that folks have or households have the literacy, digital literacy that they need in order to do the things that they want to online. And digital literacy is maybe the most important and also the kind of most opaque of all the factors related to digital equity. So it relates to being able to use technology, but also ensuring that equipment functions properly and also evaluating information online. We know that that's so important right now. So what's going on in the southeastern part of Massachusetts? So when we think about this issue, again, those three kind of determining factors, we know that there's actually right now 107,000 or 19% of households in southeastern Massachusetts that don't even have a computer in order to get online. So there is a gap right there in terms of having a device. We also understand that about 21% of households in southeastern Massachusetts don't have a broadband subscription. Whether or not they can't get a subscription or they can't afford a subscription or don't choose to, we're not quite sure, but there's a substantial amount of people that are not even accessing the internet. And then there's sort of a nexus between those two, that sort of 12% in the Venn diagram that don't have a computer or a broadband subscription. So these are the folks that we're trying to reach with this work. We want to make sure that everybody has a device and they have the broadband access they need to get online and make sure it's affordable. And we know that these challenges are disproportionately impacted in certain populations. To further inform our work, we are doing a survey right now. I'm sure folks in this room have taken the survey because I know we've got some great partners who have been pushing it in the room. I want to shout out to Cynthia Marrero and Ben Foreman who are here tonight, who are working with the City of Brockton on a digital equity plan. If you haven't taken the survey yet, we have paper copies in the back, and I believe Cynthia has a $30 gift card. No, $5 gift card to the Brockton Farmers Market, sorry, if you take a survey tonight. So see, Cynthia can raise her hand, you'll meet her later. But we've already got over 1,000 responses in the Southeast, and we're continuing to collect responses. Best response in the Commonwealth. There you go. And so what are we hearing from the survey? So right now what we're hearing is that almost a quarter, more than a quarter of statewide respondents are telling us that their internet subscription does not meet their needs. It's not fast enough, it's not reliable enough. That's a substantial amount of people. We also know that there are 55% of municipalities in the southeastern part of the state where you only have one broadband option. And people are, we're hearing from folks about the impacts of non-competition in terms of their communities and their availability. We also know that there are approximately 2,000 households in locations in southeastern Massachusetts that are either considered unserved, as in they cannot get an internet connection to that house, or underserved, meaning that their internet connection is below the federal standard for broadband. So these 2,000 households are the first households that we are going to be deploying our infrastructure dollars to. And you can see on the charts here the top 5 communities for both unserved and underserved. So 402 locations in Plymouth and 22 locations in Fall River. Those are going to be where we're starting. That's just the beginning, though. So not to make things more complicated, but we are also going to be operating a challenge process in which any body of state or local government or nonprofit organization can challenge whether or not a location is served or unserved. The real bottom line for this is that we want to hear from people in the community. There will be an opportunity to weigh in on this issue and have your voice heard, and we will consider whether or not to change a household's location from served or unserved to a different definition. And we'll be providing more information about this as this process unfolds, and I'm happy to talk more about this if anyone would like to later tonight. So going back to what we're hearing from the community. So in addition to people not having reliable internet, we're also hearing that about 1 in 3 respondents saying that they have difficulty paying for their internet. The lowest broadband plan, the lowest cost broadband plan in southeastern Mass right now is about $57.99, not including the Lifeline programs, the income eligible programs that are available like Comcast Internet Essentials, or including the ACP program. But we know that affordability is a barrier. And then finally, when it comes to adoption, so whether or not an individual or household chooses to subscribe to the internet, we understand that about half of the respondents that we're hearing from who don't have an internet subscription are saying that they don't want an internet subscription because it's too expensive. So the cost of internet is the thing that's is driving their decision. To kind of close this section out, before I turn it over to my colleague Cynthia to talk about what's happening a little bit more specifically in the city of Brockton, one of the other things that we're going to be looking at are community anchor institutions. So places where people that are anchors in the community. So they could be educational institutions, community centers, libraries, museums, cultural, religious centers, healthcare, or public housing. We're going to be focusing our efforts to make sure that those locations are able to support individuals with getting online, particularly individuals who don't have a home broadband connection. And we want to hear from you tonight also. We'll be asking you about where those locations are in your community. What are the trusted community anchor institutions that you go to, that you know about, that your friends and family use? We want to understand where those places are so we can reach out to them and we can make sure that we're supporting them in all of these processes. So I think with that, I'm going to turn it over quickly to my colleague Cynthia Marrero from the Digital Power team, who's going to talk a tiny bit about what's happening in the city of Brockton before we go into breakout sessions. Thank you, Cynthia.
Hello, everybody. Are we all here? Okay. Hello, everybody. There we go. My name is Cynthia Espinosa Marrero. I'm with Health Resources in Action. We're a nonprofit based out of Boston that's really focused on public health and the connection to everything and how really digital access helps people feel healthy, be healthy, and have access to health. So I'm here to present who we are. We're Digital Power, which stands for People Organizing and Working for Equitable Recovery. As we all know and mentioned, the pandemic hit us all, and even prior to that, many people did not have access to anything related to digital equity or anything in general. So the pandemic really elevated it up. And our team really is looking at ways to continue to bring those voices, make sure that they're not forgotten in any planning process. So we're a partnership with Mass Inc. Ben Foreman, who's in the back as well, is part of our consulting team in the city of Brockton, and UMass Boston, specifically the Collins Center. So we're excited to be working with the city of Brockton on their specific digital equity plan. So they applied to this digital equity planning program to really look at ways to find solutions when it comes to digital access gaps. They already have created a digital access plan to create their own fiber, meaning to be able to have, make sure that every home in the city and business are able to connect to the internet. And this digital equity plan is a little bit different. We're really looking at how digital equity pillars, so this is looking at digital access, digital devices, and literacy really play out in the city. So for the past couple months, we've been working closely with the city and partners in Brockton, doing a couple of part of our plan. So we've been doing existing condition analysis, looking at what's happening, what information is out there, having conversations, interviews with municipal staff, schools, groups, etc., of learning more about all of the access to internet and digital equity. We've been doing a quick, robust, not a quick, but also a really good, robust community engagement process. I would say we're proud to share, to be really involved in the city of Brockton. Rob May, who just stepped out from the planning department, created an advisory group that's really helping us as a consulting team look at how we approach the planning process. We created recently, the past month, 5 focus groups in multiple languages that are mostly spoken, if not majority spoken, in the city of Brockton, to hear from residents, included Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole, Spanish, the older adults and seniors, and general population, and that really engaged over 40 residents. And right now, the city of Brockton is we're gonna share it's one of the top cities and municipalities when it comes to the public survey responses. So right now we have reached 575 residents. We're looking to increase that more. And it was mentioned, we have paper copies of the survey, and it's a $5 gift card or coupon to the Brockton Farmers Market, as we want to continue to make sure that we support local food and local access here. So if you all completed today, whether online or in paper, feel free to see me after, and I can give you those coupons so you can get really great fresh food in the area. So all of that work that we've been doing, we're looking to analyze it all together and make sure that we don't miss any voices, any communities within Brockton. And if we do, we then go back and try to outreach and make sure that we reach them. We're going to be doing a draft report for the city itself and the advisory committee. We're looking to meet with them in October. And the goal is by the end of the year, we'll have a final report in a public meeting, somewhat similar to this, to really share what we've been doing and what strategies and things the city could do to make sure that people have access to digital devices and literacy programs. But we also look not only just to create a document that we're hoping it doesn't just put up in a shelf, we really want to partner with the city to make sure it gets implemented. So that document is going to include funding resources, and our team is going to follow up to make sure that the city has the capacity and bandwidth to make the strategies happen. So we could have not done this with the partners and the folks in the community. Obviously, the city of Brockton, it was mentioned before, Haitian Community Partners, Cape Verdean Association of Brockton, the Brockton Senior Center, and the Public Library, who really have been key players in partnering with us, making space for us to come and talk to residents, and really, we're really beyond grateful for the great work that you all do. So I want to give them a round of applause. So that's all I have for now. This is just a brief overview. My contact information is here if you want to learn more about exactly what's happening in the city of Brockton when it comes to digital access. Feel free to reach out to me. And again, see me after if you want to do the survey or need help and would like to get a $5 gift card. Thank you.
Cynthia, thank you. Yes, please give her a round of applause. So we're going to prepare to go into breakout groups so we can do some active listening, but I wanted to just make a couple of last final announcements. One is that the Internet for All work, Massachusetts is not alone in doing this work. The Internet for All effort is happening all across the country, so every state is doing similar work. And we're very lucky that we have Stuart Fryman, who's our NTIA, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, who is partnering with us and here tonight to be part of this listening session, and we work in partnership with Stuart, so thank you. We also tonight have, yes, thank you, please give him a round of applause, thank you. Yes. We also have folks who are Zooming in tonight from the Southeast area. So we have 2 satellite locations going, one in Plymouth and one in North Dartmouth. And we're thrilled that folks were able to come and Zoom in and participate remotely. So we have 2 sessions going on in addition to this in-person session tonight. Now we're going to break up into breakout rooms, and we have 4 different areas that we're going to go to. And we want to mention also that we have interpreters here tonight. So there's going to be a Spanish and English session here, a Portuguese and English session here, Haitian Creole and English session behind the curtain, and then there'll be an all English session behind the curtain. So there's 4 stations that you can choose to go to. And this is really where we want to hear from all of you about what's important and what you'd like to see done with the resources that are coming to the Southeast community. So does anyone have questions? And I actually want to have the translators come up. Steve, if you could come up too from the translation team, just to give instructions also in Spanish and Portuguese and Haitian Creole. Thank you, Eva.
You're welcome. Boa tarde. Boa tarde, o meu nome é Eva dos Santos e eu sou intérprete de português. Agora vamos dividir o grupo. O grupo de português vai ficar nesse lado, o do espanhol nesse lado, o de haitiano e o do inglês vai estar no outro lado do ginásio, ok? Muito obrigada.
Olga.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Olga, voy a ser el intérprete de español. Ahora vamos a dividir los grupos. El grupo de portugués va a venir aquí en la mano izquierda, el grupo español aquí al frente y la de Haitian Creole aquí por la parte de atrás.
And Steve.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Dans le moment où nous arrivons, côté nous allons diviser nous en petits groupes, côté que nous allons attendre nous chaque et pour gagner différents groupes. Espagnol, portugais et groupe haïtien nous avons derrière. OK? Nous attendons nous tous pour nous attendre des opinions et suggestions. Merci.
Wonderful. So we ask now if you'd like to get up and move to one of the 4 areas. We'd like to be kind of equally distributed. So if you have a language preference, go to that station. Otherwise, you can choose one around the room, the 2 rooms, and we'll start the breakout sessions. Thank you.